Hey, Gator Nation. Welcome back to the Respect Our Decision podcast. This is December 22nd, and this is your boy Hirsch. And with me, as always, is Mike.
What's going on?
And the not-so-hype man, Wes.
It was good.
Gator Nation, we got a big wrap-up show for you for signing day 2022. But as always, guys, make sure you go out and download us wherever you get your podcast from. We're available on all major platforms. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel, and make sure you go ahead while you're there, hit a subscribe button if you haven't already, and a notification bell so you get a notification every time we upload some new content. Make sure you like the video and drop us a comment. And as always, guys, if you'd like to support us as creators, check out our Patreon at Respect Our Decision. We appreciate everyone that helps us there, and we are putting every dollar we make back in to try to make this show just a tad bit better. And before we get started, guys, we want to make sure that we thank our sponsor, All-Star Roofing. All-Star Roofing is located in Georgia, and they offer a wide range of roofing services, including gutter repair, roof repair, new gutters, storm damage repair, and installation. Go ahead and check them out at allstarsroofs.com. Enter code RESPECT100. Save yourself $500 off a new roof. All righty, guys. We're going to jump into signing day 2022. There's a lot, obviously, to talk about. We got some things tonight we want to get off our chest. Got some good things to talk about, some not so good things to talk about, and some things that definitely need to see some improvement on. Before we get any deeper into that, we want to talk about the guys that committed today that the Gators was waiting to hear from. First off, being Jordan Hall, defensive tackle out of Jacksonville. Jordan Hall committed to UGA today, trolled the Gators there at his announcement. Just another day of the Gators getting trolled in an announcement ceremony, man. About tired of this. We got to make this stop. Not a big surprise. I mean, it came down to us and UGA, but UGA had been the leader there for months. We made a push, but hey, a push isn't getting a signature, and that's what we needed. Before we move on to Desmond Ricks, Mike, anything you want to add on the Jordan Hall situation? I know you're excited.
I mean, Coach Spencer made a valiant effort. I mean, they were tremendous. He was a tremendous Georgia lean for the whole cycle, it seemed like. And it appeared, we had a legitimate shot. I'm more upset about another one. So this was it would have been nice to get him and kind of like truly put a lock down on that area, Jacksonville. It is what it is. We lost to Georgia. But we did beat Georgia, head up for Cameron James.
Cameron James.
Cameron James, who I like a lot. So, can't win them all. But, given how our D-line class ended, it was a huge loss. So,
absolutely. Wes, any thoughts on Jordan Hall? Big baby.
Yeah. Troll job with the backpack and all that stuff. Position of need didn't happen. Very, very disappointed. Kid is very, very good. It's not like somebody like, all right, if Georgia wants him and he's playing D-line, especially D-tackle, that's somebody that you want, you need. As Mike already said, and you said as well, he was a heavy Georgia lean. We did, kind of like break it and make it close, but didn't get him. So it's disappointing, man. Very, very disappointing.
I think we got to quit offering kids brothers to try to get them committed. Just doesn't seem to be our thing, man. It doesn't seem to work out a whole lot. Joking, of course. I mean, heck, any good recruiter is going to do what they need to do to get a kid's signature, but you didn't get the signature. End of the day.
Yep.
Next on the line, Desmond Ricks, cornerback out of IMG, kid that reclassified from the 2024 class, 5-star. Went ahead and committed to Alabama tonight, which was actually a surprise. A lot of industry insiders as of yesterday thought he was going to LSU. Everything I had heard said he was going to LSU, and then that got flipped there at the last minute. Got to give kudos to the GOAT, Nick Saban. does what Nick Saban does, goes out, gets just one more 5-star added to this phenomenal class. It's ridiculous.
The second best overall, right?
Man,
Ever?
I'm telling you. It's insane how good this class is.
I think it's the number 2 ever behind TAMU, which is a farce class. So you could argue it's the best class ever.
I
have to check that.
I got a tiny rant on this one. This is my baby. This was the last bullet in the chamber, if you will, to land an elite prospect for this class. He was there. He was there for the taking for months, I believe. I've been told very up close personal information about the recruitment that said Rick's told us what it would take. We just needed to get it done. It didn't get done. So at the end of the day, what are we doing? I mean, here's my problem with this particular recruitment. You missed on several names down the stretch. Samson Okunlola, Mark Fletcher, we'll talk about later. John Walker, we'll talk about a little later. Jordan Hall today. This was the opportunity to at least walk out of early signing day with the perception that you could land a big one, that you could get an elite recruit. And people probably would have, said, you know what, that's a good sign. They're doing what they need to do. But you went on you lost 3 games to the end of the year. You whiffed on several big prospects. Like I said, we're going to talk about more in a second. This was a recruit for the optics that I don't believe you could miss. This is one of those kids that I'm not a coach, obviously. Everybody knows that I would have gone out and said, what does it take to get your signature today? What does it take? We need you. This program needs you. What's your number? We'll take care of business today. You commit. Put that Gators hat on. Last image of 2022 early signing day is Desmond Ricks putting on that Gators hat. But we didn't do it. And I'm frustrated, man. That frustrates me. So, y'all got any opinions y'all want to share on that?
It's disappointing when you miss on your number 1 guy in Komani. You got a coach that established a great relationship with the kid, Coach Raymond. And then we know what it comes down to. And you can't tell me whatever the number 1 guy was going to demand that the number 2 guy in the class, he's demanding around about the same thing or less, and you can't get it done. If you miss on Walker and Sampson and Paul, you got to do what you got to do to get that guy for perception. Mike talked about perception last week. It's a perception thing. You went 0 for 5 in the big guys. And we're going to talk about more of these guys later, as I said, but it's disappointing when it was right there. And you could have got the number 2 cornerback in the class who loves Raymond. But it's not Raymond because our DB class is sick. I love the DB class. But this is a perception thing and momentum thing that you have to stop the bleeding. And they didn't do
it. And his number was very, very realistic. And
better than Cormani's.
Yeah, very realistic. And he at this current moment, he is the best cornerback in the country. I'm tired. I don't want to echo exactly what you said, but I'm tired of, he's a +1. Well, we don't, we have a really good class right now. Well, really good doesn't win championships. Great wins championships. If Bama says, you know what, James Smith, we don't need you, thanks, but no thanks. No, you take them. You take elite talent. And we're turning down, I like Jackson, but would I take, if I had to pick one, technically, I would, If it was one or the other, guess who I'm taking? Even though we do have room for both. So it comes down to, I hate when you're trying to justify it. No, like why not? Just, I mean, yes, I mean, I can rationalize it to, make me sleep better at night and, avoid the trolls, quote unquote. But it comes down to elite players win games. So when you're seeing, certain players get beat, like Jaden Hill, he was a 4-star. What if hypothetically Jakeem, Jackson, I'm not going to pick on him, use him as an example, wound up to be like that? Well, what if we had a bricks instead? And like it's little options like that. And just to end a little rant, this not getting Rick says one thing about the program. When I say program, I mean coach, I mean president, incoming president, it's a brand new one. The AD, we don't want to be great. We don't take football seriously. We're okay with being good enough. So that's all.
Yeah. I can't voice my displeasure with this particular recruitment enough. And I know there's a bunch of people that kind of feel the same way. Now, and I know that the fan base as a whole feels the same way because the fan base is not dumb. They know it takes elite players to win championships.
I'm just tired of hearing that +1 thing. Oh, we didn't need them. They did. Yes, you did.
You're right. You nailed it. You do not say no to elite players.
How do you not need a 5-star?
If Keon Keeley called you up on signing day, you go, you know what? I've always wanted to be a Gator. I want to be a Gator today. No, sorry. We got too many defensive linemen already.
Hey, Cam Newton, I don't want you. Sorry, we don't need you. We got John Brantley.
Yeah.
That's the same exact logic. That's the same logic.
Urban knew you stockpile talent. You figure it out when they get here.
And if they had a transfer out, because either
alpha males ain't scared, boy. They'll come in and take somebody's job.
Nope.
All right. Enough of that. We'll get back to some of that frustration here in a second. But we're gonna talk a little about the team recruiting and whatnot as a whole. Mike, what are your thoughts?
It was and I'll touch on it a little bit more later on. Overall, it's good. It was unfortunately we didn't have the Ricks, or Hall, Walker, the flips, to help truly get us excited. But it was it's a good, very good yet unspectacular class. And just to sum this one up, it's if you take a step back about being pissed, which I am, and you know that Billy, he is methodical, okay? And I want people to know, like, this is not always on, like, missing out on all these guys. It's not like you can't. I put it more on our athletic director, and that's something we'll talk on a little bit later. But that's neither here nor there. But the main thing is we're laying the foundation. Okay, if you just look at how the quality of the kids, the character of the kids, and what this is building for next year, this is a foundation. If in 3-4 years, if we're in that top 5 perennial top 5 team, you're look at this class and say this is why.
Wes?
Yeah, I agree with Mike on the culture aspect of the entire class. You had kids that wanted to be Gators. 2 guys that stick out to me is Collins and Castell. Those kids really, really wanted to be Gators, and then they let it be known. So I'm glad we didn't do the podcast last night. I'm glad I had a day to sit back and reflect. And I'm like, okay, this class, it was more, and I keep hopping on perception because Mike said that last week. It stuck out to me of how we close. If we get Andy Jean, who went to Florida State this past weekend, or some of the other guys that visited other schools and they stay committed, then it looks a lot different on signing day when if Andy Jean pulls out a Florida hat. That's what we were missing from the entire. We missed somebody on signing day putting on the Florida hat. other than that, I'm pretty happy with the classes. Everybody knows who. If you're a new listener, thank you for listening. First off, but I've been hopping on the 24 classes, me and Billy's class, giving him the ability to learn and maneuver. I just want this class to set up, and it is set up that way to be something that when that 24 class come in, that we have a class ahead of them that can help them. So I just want the fans to look at it that way. I'm looking at the 24 class. I think the guys kind of tilted towards my way, hopefully, but that 23 class to be a solid culture building class for Billy to give us what we hope to be in a year or two.
Yeah, I mean, look, the class is solid. And we're going to run some numbers here in just a minute that we've got compiled on this class, but the class is solid. Billy came in, he identified what we needed, and he went after it. Now, here's where you have to take the next step. You've got to land some of these higher up kids. You can't just get, hey, we're going to just kill the 100 to 250, number. We need some of those top 100 kids, man. We need a lot more of them to turn this thing around. There's nothing wrong with the Jakeem Jacksons of the world. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with the Kelby Collins of the world. Great prospects. Obviously, Jaden Rashada. You can't say enough about these guys. But for every one of those really good ones you landed, you missed on one of equal or better caliber. And that's where we have to take the next step. I know Wes has, and we're not going to go too far into this because we're going to turn this page here soon. Wes is hyped on the 24 class, and we're off to a great start there, but you've got to hit on your needs, and we missed several of those in this class. Mike's harped on nose tackle forever. We went after 4 or 5 guys.
I was in a good mood, Hirsch. Why do you have to bring that up?
Hey, it is what it is. We're not here for moods. We had several of them lined up, and for one reason or another, and the reasons don't matter at the end of the day. Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. We went hitless on the defensive tackles. We went hitless on the offensive tackles. Samson Okunlola, as we mentioned, guys like that. So that brings me to another question that I know Mike wants to talk about. Is if you miss on a Samson Okunlola, where did the funds go? You had money budgeted or promised to Samson Okunlola. You come here, you'll make X amount. We'll give you X amount. Okay, Samson goes to Miami for double whatever we offered him, which was a substantial offer. Do not get it wrong. Okay, so then what do you do with it? You just pocket the money and say, you know what? We'll figure, hey, we'll buy, say, a 2024 model instead. We're going to save up for the new iPhone. Mike, what you think? What's going on there?
I'm just flabbergasted to be honest. For the first time in my life, and I don't think my father would believe me, I'm speechless.
We know that's a lie.
This is about money. It's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. I don't have I cannot rationalize it because there's no logic there. Okay, if you can't afford a Mercedes, you can't afford an Acura, get a Honda. You can't afford a Lexus, get a Toyota. And Eli Ricks is not a Toyota. He's not. He's not a 7 Series. Maybe actually he is, but all right, get the 5. It's ridiculous. But once again, we don't want to be great. At this point, we do not want to be a tier 1 football program. Period. We are in the middle of a tier 2, and I have accepted this fate, and it's a lot less stressful. But the one good thing about this class, it's not like a must-jam class where it's it's just all defense. This is a very well-rounded class, and that's why it's a great foundational class. We are missing some pieces, but we did get a tackle. We may get another tackle. So there, we didn't get Sampson. We did get a couple. We got Collins. We did get Norman. We didn't get Walker. So, but there is always, there's once again there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Let me you just brought up John Walker. Let's talk about John Walker for just a second. Because to quote a great man like Mike said last week, this grinds my gears. Look, you lost Sampson to Miami. You lost John Hall to Georgia. Now, those are two very different instances. You're losing John Hall, obviously, to a team that's got might win 2 straight national championships. I can't blame that kid. I don't blame him at the end of the day. Sampson took a substantially bigger amount of money to go to Miami. Now, that could prove to be a mistake, but right now, good for him. Here's what I don't get. You lose John Walker, who you brought onto campus 5 times to UCF because UCF upped their offer. Who? Did they spend the whole budget? I mean, look. This is what frustrates me with the way that we're operating right now. And it goes a little bit to go with the mismanagement of reallocation of funds that Mike was just talking about. John Walker was here, and I may be wrong. It may have only been 4 times. But it doesn't matter. That's 4 times you had to, let your nuts hang and give an offer that UCF can't match. Top 100 player, 100 miles, what is it, Mike? 100 miles from school? 100 miles down the road?
It's approximately an hour and a half, yeah.
Yeah. You can't beat UCF's offer for a position of need on a top 100 player?
That's a stud.
I mean, what are we doing?
Massive position of need. Massive.
After you've missed on McDonald, who was, we raved about Caden McDonald more times than we can count on this show. He was our, bell cow for a while there. How do you miss on that, Mike? How do you miss on Jordan Walker? I mean, John Walker.
Back to the perception point. I didn't mean to go on, Mike.
No, actually, I want you, if you could take that West first.
Yeah, I mean, back to the perception point. I know we're going to get into some other guys later, but in Central Florida, in their mind, they took 3 guys from us. In their mind, they took Nixon, Patterson, and Walker. In their mind, you can't let that happen. We know we're going to go over what the latter 2 guys, but when it comes to Walker at a position need, him and Hall, when you miss on McDonald, and him and Hall, and you need a defensive tackle, we talked about, okay, if you were planning on getting Hall and Walker, whatever you were going to give Hall that you knew you weren't going to get, give the money to Walker. Like, this is the thing we Mike just was talking about as far as the relocation of the funds. I know, and I spoke about this at the beginning of our podcast history, about being a GM. I know you have specific budgets for each player when you're doing this. When it comes to the NIL, you have to. You can't say I'm gonna spend $3 million on a running back. I don't care who the running back. It could be Barry Sanders. No, I'm not doing it. But when it's the same position, I'm confused. Like Kamani and Ricks, Walker and Hall. What is you're gonna do the same thing? So if you're not gonna get one, then use the same thing you're gonna do for both and get one. You can't go 0 for 2 on Kamani and Ricks and Hall and Walker. You can't go. Oh, you can't do it. That baffles me. I can understand different positions, but these are the same positions. So it is not adding up to me there. If you got anything to add to it, you can. That doesn't make sense when it's the same position. If it's running back, linebacker, or offensive lineman, tackle, I get it. But these are 4 players, 2 of them in the same position. I don't get that. It doesn't make sense.
Mike?
Well, we not only lost a kid to UCF at a massive position of need. They just they just got a new DC.
Yeah, he took another job, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to Arkansas. Travis Williams went to Arkansas. I mean, they promoted from within, so they're like, oh, it's the same scheme. It's a whole new guy. So Addison Williams is now their new DC. So that's fun. Mike, I have one question before I start on this, Wesley. So, what's our D-line coach's name? I don't know. I know his name to me. I need this on the record.
To me, after we've discussed the things of the infrastructure, I don't. If the guy came there 6 times, obviously he wants to be a Gator. You have to. You
gave him every opportunity.
Is 40% him? 80%, 60% the upper. And we know who the upper is. 40% him because you did it with Kelvin Collins. You told Kelvin Collins, you shut him down. I'm not going to Bama. Where did he sign yesterday? You got to do the same thing with Walker. You got to make it where I'm good with where I'm at. I love it here. But apparently, if the guy visited 5 times, Mike, he got him on campus 5 times. He obviously loved chaos. Chaos is, to me, he's saying, hey.
So what's his name? That's it.
Chaos.
It's funny though. What if he hypothetical, which may or not be hypothetical. What if he was silent? What if he committed that weekend?
And flip later? Because we know UCF upped their price. We got to match that.
So if we're not talking $1 million here, what if it's a couple $100,000? My thing is, it wasn't a large amount.
It was not.
His job, the biggest hurdle was getting mom on board. Mom's is on board. It's 90 minutes away. She works there. Coach Spencer cannot, in his mind, hey, you want to play in a stadium without metal, all metals? See, 50 that has more than 50 that seats more than 50,000. Would you like to do that? How would that make you feel? Do you want to go to the pipeline to the NFL, get better every day? Do you want to do that, or do you want to play in a little kids league, Big 12? What do you want to do? That's the bottom line on that. I mean, it's if you're making excuses for him, I get it. You're knee deep. You're knee deep.
I said 40%. His fault. But if it's not that much, then why we can't?
Wasn't that much?
I think it's a 50-50 deal here. I'll go 50-50. Because this should have been shut down 3 visits ago. Utah weekend, probably, if we're being really honest.
Yeah.
It should have been shut down. This should not have been a concern on the weekend of December 9th and for going forward into signing day.
You should know the longer you drag it out,
the more chances of it not going your way is.
Boom.
That's why I got worried.
I thought he was one of the hottest recruiters in the country, Wes. Hey, Larry Johnson up in Ohio State's not letting this happen.
One other whiff we want to talk about real quick before we move on down the road. Mark Fletcher going to Miami as well. Running back, not quite as important this class. I mean, we already had Trayvon Webb in the class. Now we lost 2 running backs to the portal. So now you're looking at probably a transfer running back. something of that nature to fill, because I know you want to have 4. Billy's pretty much made that clear. Once again, Miami goes out, outlandishly overpays on a running back to keep him from us. Obviously, he's a legacy to Miami, but this is after they took a running back the weekend before. So, just like, man, what in the heck? We got him to decommit from Ohio State off of his visit to us for South Carolina weekend. This is another one of those recruitments that I'm looking at going, why did this not get shut down? You had him on campus. You let him know you wanted him. He wants to play with Trey Webb. They're best of friends. He leaves campus, decommits. Everyone says, oh, it's pretty much shut down. You can pretty much put a fork in that one. That recruitment is over with. He official visits. Oh, Fletcher's in. You hear it from anyone that's around the program. Fletcher's in. It's a done deal. Well, where's the commit? This is my other concern about this staff. Why are kids being allowed to get off campus without shutting down recruitments?
I asked that question to us last week.
What is this staff doing and or obviously not doing to say, hey, look, you had a great time. We want you. You say you want to be here. Hey, let's get it done today, right now. Let's make it happen. Put that announcement out there. Call up your boy Hayes Fawcett and tell him to drop you an edit.
What was it tight end's last name? Platt?
Yeah.
That's what I've done to Platt. Because it's not a huge need. You want him? It's not a dire need like Walker. I'm like, listen, I love you, but if you go home, I respectfully.
The offer is gone.
Respectfully, I respect. If you would like to wait and talk with your family, hey, it's fine. We'll give you an hour. All right.
We'll give you 24 hours. But at 24 hours, hey, that gives you enough time to talk to your family, talk to your coaching staff, tell any other coachings, if you want to be respectful, and tell other coaches that are recruiting you.
I won't even call you. But if I don't hear from you, it's gone.
24 hours? Sorry, offer rescinded. We're on down the line because we got to fill this spot.
Yeah. And
agreed.
Look, I know Billy. We got to quit saying this right here. Billy learns from his mistakes and adapts. Because we're saying it too many times now.
It's not always the case.
How many kids this cycle have we seen that were like, why did that not get shut down? Why did we not get them to go ahead and commit? DeJean was the first one I remember vividly. That went on forever. Now, was that because rivals screwed it up and blew his announcement? Probably. AJ Harris might be the actual first one I remember. But then that was another thing. Oh, that kid was a character. And I'm not sitting here to badmouth kids. There was some issues there.
That kid's a liar, is what he is. He's acting like, oh, it got out. The kid yelled out, I'm committed, amongst like 20 people. So, like,
yeah. Got mad when people found out he said
AJ Harris is a bold-faced liar. He ruined my commitment. Dude, you just told 20 teenagers you're committing. Don't give me that shit.
But here we are again.
But
what was the plan for him to commit? Was it, we're going to do it in a month? We're going to do it in 6 weeks? Yeah. The only time that it's actually worked in our favor was a couple of the ones from Friday Night Lights. But you're still looking to get bit in the ass.
And and I said it, he was 2 for 2 on his major weekends. Well, he failed miserably. We had some silent commits from that weekend. And I'm not going to say, I'm sure you can piece it together which ones is pretty obvious. And we went over.
Yeah. You let them leave. The only one I think that you couldn't have done anything about was Sampson. Because that kid was going to, you can't we don't necessarily have the stroke to push a 5-star, but of his caliber, he's going to do what he wants to do unless you pay him handsomely to go ahead and shut it down. And clearly we weren't ready to do that. It's got to get fixed, guys. That aspect's got to get fixed. But with that being said, we talk about him going to Miami, and of course we had several head-to-head battles with Miami this year, and the perception is every recruit we went head-to-head with Miami, we lost. And that's not really the truth. Mike, you want to speak in depth about that breakdown and how that actually panned out?
Yeah, sure thing. Me being extremely tedious paid off on this one.
Mike is the stat guy. He's the stat guru.
I was bored and went on my notes pad on my phone. All right, so let's go down the list in order. So for University of Miami, and keep an eye on Cormani because this is getting real interesting. If he's going to be there or not. But for shits and gigs, I'll count it. Cornerback, Cormani McClain, currently number 2. Obviously, Miami commit. So we have offensive tackle Samson Akunla, number 20 overall. Malik, linebacker, edge. Malik Bryant, 103 overall. Mark Fletcher, 243. And interior offensive lineman, he's going to be a guard. Was Flip, unfortunately. I liked him a lot. Tommy Kinsler, I want to say from Ocala, 554 overall. Okay. Now, for UF, this is going to be it's going to be pretty interesting actually. QB, obviously the most important position of football, Jaden Rashada, 56 overall. DB, Dejon Johnson, 98 overall. Cornerback, Jakeem Jackson, 123 overall. And cornerback, Sharif Denson, 228 overall. And the most criminally underrated prospects I have come across this cycle, wide receiver, Andy Jean, 356 overall. So it actually side by side stacks up tremendously. One problem is 3 of those guys, they are, it's DB heavy, but we took a DB heavy class to flip it. I'll talk about that later. But end of the day, I mean, we got the best, maybe not technically the best. We got the most important player, and that's not even debatable. Yeah. So, I mean, did I get a left tackle? Did I possibly get a corner? Yeah. Those are, premier positions, but they're still not better than corner or quarterback. So please keep that in mind. Just a little perspective. And it took me, and I got the idea from Wes. I charted it. I saw the numbers, and it's really, honestly, we kind of – you can make a case for either one. It's that close. So.
They're top heavy.
And don't mistake this, guys, that as y'all are out there listening. Miami went after Denson and Jackson very hard down the stretch.
All of them.
Well, I know, but specifically Jackson and then Denson. Like Jackson, they had Cormani reaching out to Jackson. I mean, they tried their damnedest to try to get Jakeem in that class, and he stuck strong. So don't always buy the surface hype of, oh, they beat us on every recruit, because you don't hear about the ones like that, because there's not an announcement ceremony necessarily where you see them pick one over the other. Like Dejon Johnson did a video. Like you're not picking up a Miami hat and tossing it to the side there. You don't think of it in the aspect of, oh, we beat out Miami for that prospect. But that goes back to what we're talking about before about getting kids to shut it down. Then you don't see all of that. You don't get all that, oh, well, he went to Florida, then he went to Miami, and then he committed to Florida. You just
Mario, it's sorry to cut you off, but real quick, Mario, he did the kidnapping thing, the kidnapping tweets. So he got them to shut it down. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there was I forgot the time frame. I'd say a couple months ago. A couple kids were going to visit.
It was right after Rashada flipped.
That's what it was. And then all of a sudden,
the next day, it was the generic copy and pasta tweets going out like crazy of, I'm committed to Mario Cristobal and the Canes and, blah, blah, blah. But you're right. We laugh about it as fans and we troll about it on Twitter and social media. But guess what? Every one of those kids stay true to their commitment. Everybody was like, oh, Francis is flipping. Nope. Oh, Malik Bryant, he's sure to flip. Nope.
Yeah. That's all.
All right, guys, before we grade out the positions of this class, we want to go ahead real quick and mention a couple other things. One would be that added into the signees yesterday was tight end Tony Livingston from the 2021 cycle. He was the 338th overall recruit in that cycle. He signed with us. He was he had to go to not JUCO, but
he gray shirted. He had a great issue.
Yeah. He had some issues in grades. Also, the one kid we quote unquote did lose yesterday would be Isaiah Nixon, who flipped his commitment from Florida back to UCF. But this wasn't a traditional, oh, they flipped that kid from us. Do not buy into that. We did not even send Isaiah Nixon an LOI. Word on the street is he may have some grade concerns, and Dan Mullen would have taken him. Dan Mullen would have padded those stats and taken him, but and then we would have, then he never would have stepped foot on campus, and we'd be like, why is he taking kids that aren't qualifying? This isn't any different than Dan Mullen. You got to look deep into some of these situations. It's not always as cut and dry as, a kid just. Oh, we lost another kid to UCF. No, we let this one go. The staff was very okay.
If you're ever curious, you can always just ask. Go ask Wes on Facebook. Man knows it all. But real quick to piggyback off of Tony Livingston. I like him a lot. I forgot to say he's good old John Hevesy. It's crazy, but he left us in the best shape position group wise. The gift that keeps giving. He was originally an offensive tackle, and he just kept losing weight. So it wasn't about
he loved basketball.
Yeah, he loved. That's the thing. He's a basketball player, so he's gonna have good feet. He's probably about definitely a good frame. 240ish, 250. You can definitely get him.
That's how Antonio Gates got started.
I was about to say, good stuff with basketball players turn tight end.
Yeah, so I definitely like the potential there, and if he's a tackle, definitely has that blocking ability. So, I definitely worth the flyer. That's all.
All right, guys. Let's talk class grades. We're going to start right now. Obviously, top of the chart, quarterback position. What do we think, guys? What are our grades? Wes?
I mean, if you get your number one guy, and all along, there were some guys that came on campus. I think Dante Moore came on campus one time before, and I forget the guy's name that ended up committing to Clemson. But this is the guy they wanted all along. You end up flipping him from a team that you had head-to-head battles with. Mike said it's the most important position in football. To me, it's the most important position of all sports. So you got your quarterback, and that's that you got to get an A for that.
Mike?
I'll say an A. Can't give an A plus. Lagway, getting a kid like Lagway is an A plus. So, and he's not a 5-star as well. I don't give A pluses unless your class gets a 5-star. Bottom line. So he's an elite QB though, and the only negative is he's not gonna be ready day one. And he's not. I prefer vocal leaders there. He's not a vocal leader, but that's his personal preference. But I would say that one. Yeah.
I'm gonna be very funny about how we comment on this. I give the position grade. I give an A minus. The recruitment process, I'm in the C range.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the reason being, and I just wanted to speak on this, and this will probably be the only recruitment I do that, is that 2-month window where we didn't, or 3-month window, however long it was, I'm not exactly sure, where we lost Rashada and didn't get him, cost us dearly, I believe, in this recruiting class. I believe it cost us some serious momentum on the trail, and it cost us a recruiter and a magnet for other kids to come play with for months. I believe if you've got Rashada off the rip, you're in it with Samson Sooner, as well as several receivers on the West Coast, probably, and
Francis.
maybe another tight end or so. Just to name a few people off top. Like, I'm not going to go much deeper into it than that, but that recruitment and the way it went down, I believe, hurt this class. All right, guys.
No, it definitely did. It because he was. I've been talking to people that were in the group chat, and how a lot of people liked him. He's not vocal, but he's a very likable guy.
But other kids like him and love playing with him.
And he's from California.
Absolutely, where you want your quarterbacks from.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Running back Trey Webb. We love Trey Webb, the recruiter. What do we grade him as a prospect, Mike?
I'll go B-. I mean, possibly injury prone. So if you have a big time knee injury like that, I mean, I'm worried in high school. So, but that, he did persevere, had a great year. But it's at this time as well, overall, it's incomplete. I don't know what they're going to do in the portal. That's the biggest thing. We need 4 backs. You can't have 3 backs. We are very fortunate with our injury situation last year, and you cannot depend on it. It's blatantly obvious. Billy likes 2, if not 3, running backs, and I'm on board with that because my favorite team, the Dolphins, they do it all the time. So the problem is with the portal, it's the classes now. ATN, he's got to be a sophomore. And then Johnson's going to be a junior. All right. So Webb's going to be a freshman. So that's irrelevant. So you're going to have to get, I don't know, you're going to go there, get a freshman guy who's potentially raw and knows he needs to be developed, because you're not getting, it's going to be extremely hard to get a guy ready day one or who knows he's good enough to get carries, because you can't promise him 10 carries a game. That's not realistic. Maybe 5, yeah. Because right now I like Fletcher because he was kind of like the yin and yang, providing a little short yards, get him 2-3 yards or 2-3 carries a game, and so sub packages. Bottom line, we didn't really have that, so I'm extremely concerned at what type of transfer we're going to get, because we have to have 4 backs. If you don't, you are playing with absolute fire, especially in this scheme, which is run heavy. And based on our current situation on the center, I hope we run the ball 95 times a game.
Wes?
Yeah, Mike didn't leave much meat on the bone for me to comment. He kind of ate everything up there. But I give him the class of B as well. I'm solid with Webb. But we needed 2 backs. To everything that Mike said, like I said, Mike ate everything off the bone there. But everything he said was truth. There's nothing to add on to that. We need 2 backs, point blank period. Because if Johnson goes down, then you got a true freshman and ETN. And if one of them go down, a hamstring, an ankle, you running the ball, hamstring, ankle, anything can happen. Concussion in one game, you never know. You need 4 backs, and that's just the validity of the situation.
Hey, and real quick, and I have a saying. Yes, it's a lot of times the freshman will step up like ETN, but you should never, if you have to rely on a true freshman in your rotation in depth or on 2 deep. I know it'd be number 3, but Billy likes having 3 backs that he will utilize. That's not a good sign. That means it's incomplete.
I give it a B-. Love Webb, best recruiter in the class. But you spent time on another running back. You got him to decommit from the school he had been committed to for a long time, and he didn't finish it. So that knocks your class grade down a bit to me. Is you went after a guy, you did everything you needed to do, but crossed the finish line, and you lose points for that. All right, boys, wide receiver group. Mike's man, Coach Colbert. Wes, go first on the receivers. What you feeling about these boys, these three gentlemen? Remember, we lost Patterson.
Yeah,
No
we
big
lost.
loss.
Yeah, we lost him early in the year. We lost Creed as well, who I really like.
Before you start, they were demoted because they lost it. They messed with the blue chip ratio. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
They weren't takes.
Yeah,
but
respect Billy.
But with Gene, Eugene, and Aiden, I mean, I love all three of those guys. To me, all good to great receivers. I love Eugene. Aiden is fast as all get out. And then you have Gene, the route runner. I mean, and I think they all complement each other. I can't wait to see him on the field with Rashada or Lagway. They all complement each other. You got a route runner, you got a speedster, and you got a guy that can play the slot, can do whatever you want him to do. You know what I'm saying? Speed sweeps, screen plays. I mean, to me, you got each position. You got maybe you might want to like a kind of big guy in class, but to add on to it. So with that, I'll give them a B plus, just because it's three guys, and you don't have that marquee 5-star. Even though I feel like all three of them are underrated. I know Aiden didn't play much his senior year, but Eugene and especially Andy Gene, criminally underrated.
Mike,
this is pretty much wrapped up. It was wrapped up in the summer. Just good old KC, my boy, just doing the damn thing. But it just is starting. It's not done yet, but starting to flip the room. I think the biggest thing is players that fit the scheme. We didn't have that. We're playing with freaking tall folks that just aren't able to run. And can't separate, and we saw it unfortunately this past year. So getting Mizell, Gene Wilson was absolutely huge. Nice compliment, like Wes said, to compliment each other very well. But my biggest thing, he identified who we wanted quickly, acted on it, and executed. That's the exact opposite of what happened with, like, for example, Spencer. And I'm not trying to make a joke. I already had, it just kind of came to me, but like when you just get it, like it's like we want a Lagway, period. We want a Lagway. We identified him, we recorded him, boom, done. Signed, sealed, delivered. Make sure you appease them, keep them happy, and that's it. You don't have to play the drama game because you're getting high character kids. You're not getting a lot of times when you get these huge NIL, you may have that issue. We're not. It's signed, sealed, delivered. You're done. So, and we fended off. I think he was Andy Gene. I was never worried about FSU. He was going up there for he's going up there for the talent. A lot of talent up there, but I'm just happy we have a class with some explosive players. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah, I go A-. I'm not too worried about losing Creed or Patterson. I'm not worried about Patterson at all. I liked Creed's athleticism. But it was very clear early what this staff was looking for at receiver. The opposite of what the last staff looked for. Fast guys, good route runners, guys that could just take the top off the defense. I love these three kids. I'm very excited about them. I think all three will see the field next year in one way, shape, or one form or another, whether it be kick returner, some receiving routes. Obviously, I mean, they're dynamic, man. I really like these kids. I think all three of them are underrated, but what do I know? Just a great overall group. Really, really proud of Colbert since he was fired back in like last April. By a lot of the fans.
As soon as he was hired.
Mike, what did you get in class?
A-.
All right, guys, offensive line. Whew. Wes?
I'm going to go first again. I got you.
Oh, no. Mike, you go first. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. So, as of right now, we still have a player on the board, Caden Jones. I'd like to say us, but who the hell knows at this point? So technically it'll be incomplete until then, but right now I give it C. If we get him, C plus. It's not going to touch a B. Because we should have closed Caden Jones already. We were playing with fire with Sampson. It was pretty obvious that Sampson was going to cost a lot. So and if you kind of know you weren't going to be able, you know who your opponent was, and especially after Cormani, it was pretty obvious. Like, all right, we can't mess with their funds. That's just how it is, at least this year. So with that being said, we did definitely get some nice depth and some players to develop. I love Nigel Harris, interior offensive lineman, 6'3", 335. Bryce Lovett from Countdown County, Brevard County. What up? 6'5", looks a potential right tackle, 330 pounds. And also, I see definitely a future, possibly impact player sooner rather than later. Roderick Kearney, future guards, 6'4", 300 pounds. This mean guy. But the biggest problem is just lack of numerous impact players. I see Kearney as an impact player. I just need Kearney. If you give me Simmons or you give me Sampson, I'm fine. But you missed out on. Atkins is a great recruiter, but you still lost to him. I don't care if someone's great. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you lose to. Be better. Aim to be better. Okay, that's the bottom line. There's no you win or you lose in life. That's all. So I give him a C.
Mike, Wes.
C minus. Kearney is probably the best one of our group as far as rankings is concerned. Mike spoke to impact players. Maybe Kearney's probably the one that you hope maybe as a redshirt freshman, a true sophomore that can step in. Other than that, got a lot of development of guys. With offensive line, they're hard to grade out. You got we just saw that with Torrance coming from with Billy from school, and he's getting a break. So you can develop guys into being who you want to be, but when you missed on Simmons and you missed on Francis and then you missed on Sampson, and you had the elite guys there to make this class special, especially at the top end. I mean, to me, that's a failure. You got some, and it's kind of hard to do with in general when you're dealing with offensive linemen, but you get more talented guys when your chances are better off as far as that class, as far as those guys succeeding. So I give them a C minus, close to a D on the low end.
Yeah. Mike, you got some points you wanted to add real quick?
Yeah, really quick. I was talking about with the class, Harris, Lovett, Kearney. A lot of times you'll see coaches just like let's just say Mullen, they would just get fillers. Like other than playing slim to none. Well, I don't see that here. I see players that will be developed, just like Osiris Torrance was developed. So they have. Will they be maybe a first round pick? No, but will they be potential NFL draft pick? I see absolutely. So yeah, once again, you have that phenomenal foundation. Luckily, currently next year we don't have a dire need at any position. I mean, we have starters in place. Is the bottom line. We don't technically need any. We're not like we have waiter. Bottom line. Yeah, we don't have
next year.
Pardon?
Who's your center next year?
He's there. But we have a player on the roster.
Ooh, you put baby in the corner.
Yeah, you did. My bad. No, yeah, I wanted to ask one question though. So we missed on a couple guys. Whose fault is it really? So I'd say it's going to be 75% Strickland, 25% staff. Only on Akumla though. Only on Akumla. That's all.
Oh, Sampson?
Yeah, Sampson only. So you don't have to. It wasn't a discussion. That was just
I was going to say, what about Simmons? I mean,
I pulled out. You just lost. Personally.
Okay. And that's, he lost. We lost on him. That's once again, that goes back to your same point about chaos. That sales job or Stapleton's job, whoever his.
They're getting. Listen, I'm not like Wes. Okay. No, we need to put this out here. Okay. He's still calling him chaos, giving him excuses. He was like, well, how do you feel about the O-line? And what did I say? I said, I'm gonna wait. Well, guess what? I waited and I gave them the shittiest grade.
Okay.
That's the bottom line.
Okay.
I'm a man.
Right, that's fair.
My word.
That's fair. All right, let me give my grade. I'm gonna go with a straight C. I love the kids we got. We lost Kinsler, like we talked about earlier. Who I like as a prospect. The Sampson, we don't need to keep bringing that up. Obviously, I mean, that was a game changer. Could have been a game changer. I just brought up Simmons. I really would have loved to have gotten Simmons. Put a lot of effort into it. Relationship won out in the end there. Atkins got him to stay. Hopefully he's hitting the portal and coming over to Gainesville when Atkins takes another coaching job, in a year. Because that man's probably going to be up for some an upgrade on his resume. So hopefully maybe then we circle back and say, hey, you want to come to Gainesville now? Play with your buddy Kearney, because apparently him and Kearney are real good friends. Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to seen, jury's still out. I think we close on Caden Jones. I think that would be another good add to the offensive line class. Big body kid. We talked about him last week. I mean, a 6'8" offensive tackle. You can work with that all day. And we'll have to see what we do in the portal. I have a feeling we're going to grab a couple offensive linemen in the portal for multiple reasons, including one that just came across the wire here before we started the show that we'll talk about in a minute. All right, guys. Oh, God, do I have to say this out loud? Whoo! Defensive line class. Oh, God. It just happened to work out that Mike gets to go first on this. No, Mike went first on offensive line. God, West gets to go first, and then Mike gets to sit there and build it up.
What, Wesley? After you, sir.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna give the D-line a C-, the same grade the offensive line got. They both did the same thing. They whiffed on players that they needed in the class. I think Kelby Collins is elite. You got a guy there, but as far as the tackles, I mean, you whiffed on 3 guys. I can remember off the top of my head, probably 4 D tackles. It's a position of need. You're losing Dexter. I mean, we got some guys there. Lyons, I saw him in the game Saturday, and you got McCullough and you got Watson, but you still need depth. And then we got a guy in the portal as well. So I kind of think that kind of helps them, but at the same time, so that's 4 guys right there. But we still need detail. You still want incoming guys that you can shape and mold into your own thing. So you want to take D tackles every class. So they get a C- from me. I'm not going to go along with them. The overall guys at end are straight. It's just the D tackle they whiff there, or he whiffed there. I say they. I mean they. The administration failed us, and he failed us.
Okay, Mike, let it rip.
I don't know how you get them the same. I mean, Spencer, he did do a better job than the O-line. That's clear as day. So the 5 players, we got, Kelby Collins, TJ Seriously, Will Norman, Cameron James, Gavin Hill. I'm a big fan of them. Solid foundational pieces. I think Cameron James has a high ceiling. Will Norman, biggest bust potential, but position of need. And we'll see. That's one I'm kind of worried. I'm extremely worried about. Kelby Collins, Mr. Solid. A lot, like him a lot. And TJ, seriously, I think he's Mr. Football right there. So, but here's the problem. Where's the beef? Just the bottom line. I mean, those 5 players weigh 13, and I'm not counting the transfer. I'm only doing the high school players. 1,340 pounds, and that's going to bring you to an average of 268 pounds. We playing in the MAC? I don't know what the hell's going on. This is 5A Georgia high school football. Like I just don't understand where this is acceptable. Period. I mean, that's what I was like. Just take a note. Xavier, you want Xavier McLeod from South Carolina? Like, you take a developmental nose. I mean, anybody, everybody, because at that point, you get a guy like the O lineman. Just let him sit for a couple of years. Even if you get a transfer, okay. I was watching Cliff McClellan. That man is not a nose guard. He cannot play inside. He's getting driven back 7 yards. He can't take on a double team. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. Last year, you're playing Sapp inside a tackle when he's not a defensive tackle. It's awful. That's why the Walker miss, as we said, was so terrible. But like I said, looking at what we do have, it is a very good class. So, we have some nice depth at an already very strong position, at strong side defensive end. Seriously, you have some flexibility between edge and strong side end. And at least we do have what's it called? We have Will Norman. Kelby Collins is in that in the mold of the transfer. A long arm, tall mold. So I like him. But end of the day, we need some bigger bodies. When we don't have a player over 300 pounds. That's how is like you're in the SEC. That's awful. So yeah. I give it a B-.
Wow, that was very generous, actually.
I mean, he got quality players, but like
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I'm gonna say B- as well. I'm gonna say B- as well. I love the players. But you had a lot of misses. Yes. A lot of misses. We've talked about the defensive tackles. We've talked about Walker. We've talked about McDonald. We talked about Hall. That isn't even talking about defensive ends and whatnot. Q Rusall, Keon Keeley,
Smith.
I know Tim Smith. James Smith. Yeah, I'm still thinking of Tim. I still have Tim Smith nightmares from years back. Defensive tackle recruiting has been haunting me for a long time. Those are misses. Those are big time misses. Those are misses that are game changers. And you put a lot of time and effort into recruiting those guys. So once again, that's how I judge this. If you put a lot of time and effort into recruiting kids and you don't come away with them, that's time you could have been recruiting somebody else that you possibly could have got. So you don't get back this wasted time and effort on recruiting. You just don't. The only way you get it back is if you take a prospect or, a project at the last minute to fill the need. Now, I'm glad Billy's not doing that. But, hell, at defensive tackle, I almost kind of wish we would, like Mike said. I know McLeod had grade concerns and maybe some character concerns. I don't know if
that's a good flyer to take.
I don't know if we could have. Now that I don't know.
If you could get him,
if you could get him,
that's a flyer you take.
Just to have a camp body, if nothing else.
That is a flyer you freaking take. If you're freaking taking Norman, you can take him.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. It took Norman a month to figure out where he was playing high school this year.
And it was a take. Kyle was a take. It wasn't like we didn't want him.
So, if you're going to whiff on every target, you might as well take somebody at that point. But we'll find out real quick because he went to South Carolina. So if we're playing him for 2-3 years, time will tell. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and try to grade that one linebacker we got, Mr. Jaden Robinson, who is a beast. Nothing away from Jaden Robinson. If you have got any opportunity to watch highlights or look at the stats of one Jaden Robinson, and you haven't done it, you're doing yourself a disservice. The kid is a wrecking crew. 7 straight games to end the season, Jaden Robinson scored a defensive touchdown.
Unreal.
Played safety in his junior year, played linebacker this year. Tremendous grab. But hey, Bateman got us.
Always.
So So, Mike, what's your take on this linebacker class? Graded up?
Give it a B. I mean, Saul yet unspectacular. You could, I mean, it's Jay Bateman, so yeah. We whiffed. I like the player, so I mean, we whiffed on every other target under the sun, but you could tell, and I liked it that once again they didn't just take fillers. So once we missed like Carter, for example, Lewis Carter, saying with Oklahoma, but once you whiffed on the players we wanted, you could tell like what, we're not going to settle. We have our floor. We're there. We're not just going to take a player to take a player. There was a lot of good players, okay, that are top 150 players. They said no to. So keep this in mind. They were saying no to kids that wanted it. So that's what I like. And I think who knows, maybe they may be getting a I think they punted this linebacking class to next season for see what's new potential staff, any potential staff changes.
Wes?
They get a C from me. It's not on Jaden because I love the player, but you can't punt to the 24 class where you need guys now. Our motto, what we've said with Bama and Georgia, does you stack talent on top of talent on top of talent. Can't punt it. And we whiffed on numerous guys in this class from the state of Florida. So with that being said, you lose Miller, you losing Bernie, you got James, Scooby didn't show me much. Wingo, I need to see more. You got to keep stacking talent. You missed on 4 or 5 guys. A lot of guys from the state of Florida. Again, I say that. You gotta capitalize. And I can't give them the same grade that I give the wide receiver class. Just can't do it. So that's why I'm at with the linebackers.
Real quick though, so what if it's under different circumstances? Like wide receiver class, you guys, boom, I'm done. Right? So it's 1-2. Georgia got, I want to say 2 guys, a guy at Lincoln, the guy at a I forgot the name, but he's out of the Tampa area. And then I want to say Lewis Carter. Correct me if I'm wrong on the name, by the way. That's 3. Okay. Pup Howard out of Jacksonville. That's 4. Okay, we whipped on him. And when we were flipping him, that was a crazy relationship. I understood that one. But that's 4 guys. Okay. They said no to 2 guys, blue chip guys in the state. That's not on. I mean, they didn't want them. What do you? I mean, they said no to them.
My point still stands that
they don't.
Whether you still went 0 for 4, and you still went 1 for 5.
Okay, Pup Howard. Oh, he's already committed. You're not changing that commitment. Yeah, you lost to Georgia, one of the best linebacker, and I get it. You lost, but like.
You're making excuses, like you tell me. You're making excuses.
That's why it's not. That's why it's not like a D, but like, we didn't go after anybody. We're not going all over the country. That's my point. You could tell that they didn't want to take it too many people. They were extremely picky, was what I'm saying. In the circumstances under this coach and another coach, you can kind of tell where they were extremely picky. Do the math.
If you're gonna be picky, you got to get guys. You got to get one more. You got to go 2. You got to get another guy.
Why? What if they didn't want? What they didn't want? Technically, think they needed one. What if that was a +1? Is my question. That's all.
It's the reason why they got somebody from the portal.
What if that was the goal? End goal is my point. That's all. They're saying no to blue chip prospects. And I'll leave it at that. 2.
My grade is a C. I would have loved to have seen us get a couple, at least one more. I love Jaden Robinson. I think the kid is
it's no knock to him.
Vastly underrated based on what I've seen. But I can't keep saying kids are underrated because that's, it just at a certain point they're rated what they are, and we'll see what they are when they get to campus. I love the kid. I think he's great. I would have loved to have seen one more to go with him. Obviously, I mean, for depth, whatever have you not, couldn't make it happen. But I got a feeling they're going to attack strong in the portal. We know of one they're already pretty much they've got, and then I know of some others that they're talking to. So not too upset. I would have loved, like I said, I would have loved to see one more, but if they take care of it in the portal, I'll be okay with it. We need some immediate experience, depth, or starters there anyway. So get Jaden Robinson on campus, get him developed. If he works his way into the rotation year one, then so be it. We'll see real quick. All right, guys. Cornerback class. Man, this is a hit or miss for me. Wes, how you feel about this cornerback class?
B plus. I'll grade this and the wide receivers the same. The two best units for me. Because you didn't get the 5-star guy, Kamani or Ricks that takes it to the A. But B plus. Love the class. Love all the guys in the class. It's not a guy in the class that I'm iffy on. I'm just, and then you got 5 positions based on the field for them to play, and you got different guys that can play different positions. So you don't have a guy that you got outside corners, you have slot guys, you have safeties. I love all these guys. So shout out to Raymond and Tony, because we got a couple safeties there too. I'm counting all of those together. Did you say corners or you say safeties? Am I cool doing it together?
We said corners. I put mine together as well.
Okay, so yeah, so I love the class.
Okay, I'm just gonna put I put DB class, and I put this because at least two of them with Gates and Johnson, it's still up in the air what position they're gonna play, corner or safety, and we also have some nickel players as well. So between Dijon Johnson, Jakeem Jackson, Jordan Castile, Sharif Denton, Aaron Gates, and Bryce Thornton, I have as an A minus. Hands down, it's my favorite group. A complete room overhaul. You're getting players with true flexibility, and not the flexibility is that they're a tweener. It's like, I'm good enough to play both. Let me play the position that best fits the defense. That's where you got, for example, Sharif Denton, he could play the outside, but I think this one he's more likely they're going to play the nickel. And with Dijon Johnson, he could probably play the safety. He's actually listed at that on some sites. He's probably going to play on the boundary. But let's just say if Moore really steps up, okay, cool. If we have our two boundary corners, let me drop him back for depth. Castell's a true safety. Bryce Thornton, he's a true chess piece. You can move him all around, and same with Gates. So just and Jackson, a true outside corner, and that's going to be Raymond's pet project that he just took from, I want to say, 247 up to like in the 120s right now. So this class is phenomenal. Can't give it more than an A minus just because of the lack of star. You don't even have a top 75 kid end of the day, but end of the day, who brought him on, and I just absolutely love the class.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on an A minus for the class. I really, really like them from top to bottom, and I'm with you. I think it's more of a DB class than a cornerback class. I probably should have said that off the top, because
rookie move.
Outside of Castell, all of them are very versatile. I don't think we'll know where any of them are playing until we see a depth chart, to be very honest with you. Yep. We might see some in spring game, but they might jump all over the place, to be very honest. I mean, that's what they were looking for from the get-go. That was the word that Tony and Raymond were looking for, was versatility in the secondary, and they went out and got it, man. Now, you have to hit on that minus, though, because you had Cormani in your pocket, and you missed it. You had Ricks up until the last weekend, and you chose I'll go right back to that. You chose not to do what it took to get it done. I know Mike spoke about plus ones earlier, but man, one of those two guys would truly have that, not just changed the DB class, but have really changed the outlook of the class as a whole. And it started the changing, the look of the class really started changing after Cormani went to Miami. So A-. I love the class, that we got, but man, it would have been nice to get one of those too. Maybe it paid off missing on Cormani in the end. I know the optics probably would have been a lot better. We'd have been, oh man, we got 5-star Cormani, big Gator fan, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if you've been following along since that kid committed, it ain't been pretty. And that's not just sour grapes. I mean, a lot of people could say, oh, you're just, and I'm sure if any Miami fan hears me say this, oh, you wish you had him though.
No, they're already spinning that about.
Yeah.
Who cares if for a guy that's going to transfer in a year? Well,
or doesn't even sign there, or or might not even be able to get into school at this. He got some work to do. Anyway, we're not going to harp on that, guys. Class as a whole, what's your grade?
B.
Mike? Yep, go ahead. B? No? B? Wes?
Same, I give it a B as well.
B-. I know y'all went pretty solid, but I can't get past no defensive tackle. Don't mean to harp on Mike, and I can't.
We do.
I can't get past the continual.
We have Norman Collins.
I can't get past the continual misses of elite prospects.
What about, because this got introduced. So what about just a play and take away the misses, which we get our cycle, our class? What do you give?
The class that we bringing in.
Yeah, that's it. It's still B-.
I'd up it to a B.
Okay.
We're
literally on the same page. Okay.
We pretty much hit on all of our needs except the nose tackle. I mean, we're going to just continue to say it. That was a one miss need, and it showed that they were looking for him by the guys they recruited. Yep. I mean, it wasn't like they just weren't recruiting nose tackles. They were recruiting them specifically, and they missed on all of them. So, all right, guys. Let's talk about who our favorite player of this class is. It's hard to single out just one kid, but, you always have that guy that you're like, man, I can't wait to see him on the field next year. So let's talk about that. Wes, which one of these kids are you most excited about?
I'm going to go with the guy, as a former DB myself, people saying, I saw some stuff today, we overrated Corey Raymond and all this. I'm like, are you serious? Jakeem Jackson is my guy. Nobody wanted to talk about Jakeem Jackson early in the year. He was like, where's this guy coming? He's like a 3-star? Who is this guy that's what Raymond is going to? And we kept seeing Jackson rise. Then you see other schools going after Jackson. Miami, Florida State, and other schools trying to get him to flip him. So that's a guy that boundary corner. We are DBU. That's one of the things we try to be DBU. We kind of slipped the last couple of years. So I want to see Corey Raymond put that back there. And this is his first true DB class. And we look at Jackson as that guy that's going to be on the outside in the future. So I want to see him. He's my guy that I like, and I saw, and it's the fact that Corey Raymond saw him when nobody else saw him early, and it was on him early that appeals to me in him.
Mike?
Hell, maybe we should have put Corey Raymond on John Walker. It's neither here nor there.
Oh no, our fans would have said he would whiff too because he didn't get Ricks or Cormani.
Or Cormani.
Yeah. So, anyways, I got Kelby Collins. I mean, love the frame. He's like Gurr frame. I mean, not as tall. He's about 6'5", 300. He'll probably carry about 6'5", 315, 320, depending on how they want him to play. But he's a football player, man. That's like, seriously, he just looks like he's going to be a 10-year vet. Lunch pail guy. I'm just going to show up to work. What's going on? From the southeast. From Alabama. I absolutely love it. Just another guy we stole from Saban. No big deal. I'm used to it. It's an annual occurrence. Right now, I've already looked to the 24 cycle on who I'm going to take from Nicholas Saban because it's just something that happens. Even Jim McElwain did it. I mean, it was a Cuban punter, or a kicker, but it occurred. So, but no, just a talented player, and I see NFL draft pick written all over him.
I'm going with man. Wes knows I glow about this kid. Eugene Wilson, man. Oh my God, I love this kid. I know I just said we can't keep saying kids are underrated, but holy crap, how is this guy? Every time this guy touches the ball, it's electric. I don't want to say he reminds me of Percy because people always use Percy as that measuring stick, but he's got some Tony in him, I think. Very shifty when he gets the ball, man. He's very just the kid can make people miss. He makes things happen with the ball, and I got a feeling we're just gonna see that kid on the field next year, early, often. Hopefully he's taking the screen passes away from Xavier Henderson, because actually, unlike him, I believe that Eugene Wilson could get more than 3 yards a catch. So, you know, he's the kind of kid that you find ways to get the ball in his hand year one, whether it be punt returning, kick returning, screen plays, end arounds, you know, like you do with Ricky. Yeah. Just get him the ball.
He's a weapon.
Yes, he is a weapon in every sense of the word. So I look forward, and I know a lot of people are on that boat with Eugene Wilson. So, all right, man. Mike, I know we've been kind of down on some of this class and some things, but you got a little silver lining for us, huh?
I do, actually. So once again, it took me just take a step back, breathe a little bit, like Wes did. You know, Wes said he just had to take a deep breath, and he started to appreciate the class. So after taking a deeper look into it, listen, freaking sucks, all right, that we didn't get You've heard Hirsch. He said it a dozen times so far. How you see how mad he is about it, but I'm mad too. So, but if you omit that, we're currently sitting at number 12 overall in a 24-17 ranking. That's not top 10, which sucks. Like to me, I would have never foresaw that. It's inexcusable for this class, for the bump class, and then, however, this is where you got to do a deep dive. Our star rating, our average, 92.32. That is the 4th highest in the country, behind Alabama, UGA, and Texas, with Texas being at 92.82 and having the single most overrated prospect of all time in Arch Manning. Once again, I won't dive into that. Another thing, we only this is the highest average since Urban's last year. We only have 20 commits. That's another thing. 18 of the 18 4-stars and 2 3-stars. That blue chip ratio is amazing. Not one team ahead of UF had fewer commits, and only one team, Ohio State, had the same amount. So, and also, and this speaks to, once again, when we reiterate, speaks to the character and the type of people Billy is building his program around. No signing day surprises, in a good way, not like Jacob Copeland, and held on to everybody into the class. As Hirsch alluded to, that there was some Miami wanted our corners and FSU wanted Gene. So this also, like I said, it speaks to the type of kids that are currently in the class. So that was it. And who knows? We may not be done yet. Still National Signing Day.
That's right.
Not quantity.
Man, I'm telling you, I mean, he did a great job of getting like you said, high quality kids, very solid in their positional rankings at positions of need. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Like, of course we can ask for 5 stars, but
what do you guys feel about that average though? I mean, even knowing what we whiffed on, taking a step back, what do you think?
It's great. like I was just saying, it's quality prospects across the board. You didn't.
Is that something you kind of like overlooked it in terms of just being your frustration?
No, I mean, I knew the blue chip ratio was high. My frustration was more to the lines of just missing on elite targets over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
But that, like you said, that's a step back, take a breath, get past the initial emotion of it, which is, as fans, is hard to do. It's just like the day of and after, in the morning after a game. You're like, God, how did we lose that game? How were we the night of Florida State in the morning after? What the hell? Oh man, we tackle that quarterback 3 times, and we win that game. Same kind of comparison. Oh man, we close out those 2 prospects, John Walker, Desmond Ricks. We're looking at this class a completely different way.
Clemens.
Yeah.
What's that?
Running back.
Yeah, but then you step back and you take a look at it, and you're like, you know what? It's solid. We got our needs. Could we have used the nose tackle? Yes. Go get one in the portal. You have that there now. Okay. That's become a better fallback than you had in the days of old when you were recruiting. You didn't have that option to fall back to.
Okay. 100%. So one thing I wanted to touch on, and this is and Napier is he did to himself. Sometimes you got to essentially got ahead of him. Once he established the base he established, he's not meeting on a certain level. I'm going to read the quote. This is from December 6th, 2021. Wasn't that a year to the day of Lagway? No, 7.
7.
Yeah.
7 was Lagway, yeah.
Yeah. We want to be the other team that the other team dreads to play, Napier said. We're going to have a specific plan in recruiting and evaluating, and that will start with a major emphasis in the state. In the famous line, this is a talent acquisition business. We're going to work tirelessly in this area. Those last 2 sentences. One, I know the majority of staff did. I also know for a fact some of the staff did not work tirelessly. Okay. Now, the main line, Hirsch goes over this all the time. This is a talent acquisition business. Now, with that rating, 92.32, being 4th highest in the country, arguably 3rd, if you take out the Arch Manning BS, that's phenomenal. Or it's really good. Is it great? No. So you're getting talent. Are you getting talent good enough to win national championships? No. If you got 2 out of the 4, if you maybe get a John Walker, Desmond Ricks, does that get you? Is that some of the talent you need for a national championship? Absolutely. So that's just what goes back to he set the bar, not us. We're bringing up his tweets. So another thing, I love her. I love what Katie does. I appreciate her, but and I understand she says she's working 100-hour weeks. She's hitting off tweets that are now backfiring. Hey, don't worry, guys. I got it. Hey, we're going to come through. Listen, don't tweet that because at this point, when people are pissed, they're coming for a head. They're coming for blood. And you promised them. I don't know if she doesn't know the Gator standard. The Gator standard is the urban days. That's what we expect. That's what Hirsch expects.
That's right.
And when you say, no, I got you guys. Trust me. Well, hey, you don't because it didn't happen. Or you would have taken care of John Walker. You would have made Coach Chaos a person again before he got demoted. Okay? So it is what it is. Can't change it. And the last thing, public enemy number 1.
The focus has shifted.
We got a really good staff. Room for improvement, yes, but we're blessed to have Billy Napier as our head coach. We truly are. Dan Mullen was not Jeremy Foley was part of the problem. Wasn't the full problem. Dan Mullen was part of the problem, not the full problem. Now we have one problem right now. It's Scott Strickland. his one job as AD. This is the man who made me watch Michael White for 6 years. You one job as an AD. Get money. He was hired as being a good fundraiser. He's not getting money. He is no I don't know if he grasps it. Like he knows what it is. I just don't think he cares. So I mean, it's a total disconnect, and that is a problem. It's just honestly, it's a lack of funds. I know the NIL, a lot of teams are still sorting this out, but guess what? We are at least right now. We still have to do some overpays. I'm not asking for everybody under some. That's not realistic. Every team will whiff. Bama will whiff. Georgia will whiff. They both have whiffed. But end of the day, get one player. Get a Kunla. Get Rick. Get one. Okay? But it is what it is. I'm going to start a new hashtag. I'm going to get a print on T-shirts. Start throwing them around Gainesville. Hashtag Sayonara Scott.
This is a movement I'm sure a lot of people can get behind.
Hey, started.
As we kind of, segue out of the recruiting class, we want to take a second, guys, and just talk about, we talk about the talent that's coming in. Let's take a second and look at some of the talent that left, if you can call it talent, and look at where some of these guys have gone that were on our roster that just transferred. Josh Braun went to Arkansas, good program, but had a relationship already there with the head man from when he was at Georgia. So not a big surprise. It was big, him and Pittman had a real good relationship when he was at Georgia. So
Wes made a call for him. Got him in the
yeah, Wes made a call to his boo out there. And Jalen Lee went to LSU defensive tackle, but that's home for him, and that's who we beat out. Our long snapper, Mr. Marco Ortiz, who was, Mr. 6-star long snapper, went to Nebraska. But after that, you start to see a fall off of where some of these kids ended up at. Corey Collier went to Nebraska as well. I missed out on that. But
Avery Helm, corner TCU.
Avery Helm went to TCU, which obviously right now TCU is a great program. But I wouldn't consider it a cornerstone program. It's not like you went to Bama, Georgia, LSU, USC. Griffin McDowell, bless his heart. UT Chattanooga. Donovan McMillan went to Pitt. Not bad. Mike's man, Lloyd Summerall, went on down to South Florida. Whew. Kamar Wilcoxon went to Temple. And Lorenzo Lingard announced he went to Akron. I mean, you look at that, with the exception of, I would actually say, well, Josh Braun going to Arkansas. Arkansas is a good program right now. I mean, they're not.
Yeah, and also safety Donovan McMillan.
I said that.
Oh, you did? My apologies. He went to Pitt. Yep.
Yeah. Jalen Lee went to LSU. I mean, yes, LSU obviously a good program, but he was from there, and we actually, I don't believe they had room for him in their class. We ended up getting him when we got him. But man, I mean, most of these guys, not going to big time solid programs. So what does that say about, the level of talent that we had on the roster last year? Mike?
Pitiful. It's awful. I mean, I've always said, I'll just use a couple examples. Lloyd Summerall, when he signed, I said if he plays down at the University of Florida, we're in trouble. He played multiple down, so we're obviously in trouble. Josh Braun, Josh Braun could play at the University of Florida. Third, Jalen Lee, mid, McDowell's awful. I liked Helm, but I liked him for depth. But honestly, there's one person on there we're gonna miss. This has got to be Josh Braun, and he got beat out by Richie Leonard. So it is what it is.
Wes, what you think?
Yeah, it just speaks to who, and then we still have guys that's in the portal that haven't gone places yet. I want to see where the rest of those guys go, and that'll be even more telling because we still have some guys out there that haven't, committed to a said school yet. So, Mike kind of hit on everything, and you did as well when you were talking about them, like the schools that these kids are going to. It's not like they're going to these top of the line SEC, Pac-12, ACC schools. They're going to middle of the pack schools. They're going to Kentucky's of their conference. Which is not really good.
And lastly, that's just once again this shows when these people, some of these players like Helm was starting, Donovan Milne was starting at the end of the year. Jalen Lee began the season starting. This is a rebuild. I hate to break it to you folks. This was a legitimate rebuild. That's all.
And most of these guys I probably won't keep up with much now that they're gone. But Lorenzo Lingard at Akron, some action. I'm gonna follow that.
I actually quote tweeted him. I said,
I saw that.
Go be great, King. #Maction.
Oh yeah, buddy. I'm gonna follow some Lingard and some action next year. I think he might put up some numbers.
Did you catch up that? Did you catch that? Did you see that breaking news though?
Yep, breaking news. Man, another one hits, and this one kind of surprises some folks. This podcast host, especially our offensive tackle Michael Tarquin, announced right before we went on the air that he was entering the transfer portal. Kind of a surprise. I mean, maybe Mike's boy Barber scared him off. I mean, I don't know, Mike. What does this say to you?
Yeah, that sucks. Huge loss for depth. Huge loss. I was wondering if this was going to occur. I was hoping he'd be a right tackle for us next year. It says a couple of things for me. One, you're going to go after a guy in the portal to start, or Cam Waits, who unfortunately is not going to work at a guard at all. He had a bad game at guard. They see him as a starter next year, like left tackle or one of the tackle positions. Barber is obviously being all SEC. Freshman all SEC is going to have one spot down. So it'll be a huge, going to hurt extremely for depth, because he was a great piece for depth. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen. So it's essentially to come down to Waits or a transfer. Luckily, there's some in the portal.
Wes, any thoughts on Tarquin before we move on?
Yeah, we always say you can't lose your job to injury. I mean, that's what happened. Got injured. Barber stepped in and took that spot on. So, and I don't know where he thought he would be on the depth chart. I mean, there are two tackle spots. Me and Mike were talking about that earlier. I think whether if Barber goes to left or if he stays on the right, how they shake that out. So I'm interested to see the spring game or the depth chart that comes out there to see how these offensive line shakes out.
All right, guys. That's pretty much, we're going to wrap it here on the 2023 class as far as early signing day goes. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on how things go from here until February. We'll see. Maybe the staff decides to get in on some kids. Have to take a look at when the dust settles here this week and see who's really left out there. And if the staff tries to connect with any of them to try to make some moves. Hopefully we see some stuff and it's not all just 24 talk from here on out. I mean, but hey, we know what time it is, man. It's Portal Mania time, baby. Lots of stuff going on in the portal now. And as we start talking about the portal, guys, I want to talk a little bit about our partnership with the Prize Picks. And of course, if you have heard us talk about Prize Picks is the daily fantasy pick'ems where you can go in and pick 2 to 5 different players and you play the over or the under that Prize Picks provides for you. As an example, guys, if you're one of the, if you're a big Duval fan and you're out there watching Trevor tonight, an example line might have been, will Trevor Lawrence pass for over 250 yards or under? You link 2 to 5 of those guys together in your bets, you can win big money. So use our code RESPECT100 and Prize Picks will match your first donation, your first deposit up to $100. So if you put in $50, they're going to match that at $50 all the way up to $100. So go ahead, check out Prize Picks, use our code RESPECT100. Make some money on them NFL games, man. All right, guys. Signing day didn't go just quietly as far as recruits. We did get some surprise news that evening as it was announced that former Wisconsin quarterback Graham Mertz would be transferring and signing with the Florida Gators. Now, I know a lot of people aren't excited about this news, but, you know, you got to go with what you got. And what we got is a guy that's got 2 years of eligibility left. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of Kansas. He was ranked, I believe, 65th in the country coming out. He played great in the All-Star game the year he came out. He threw for 5 touchdowns in that game. He was, people thought he was going to be big time, but he's been very up and down at Wisconsin. Last year he had 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's made some good plays, and then he makes some very head-scratching plays. Kind of like what we've watched this year at quarterback from time to time, but he's not going to be one that uses his feet. So what we have to ask ourselves is, was he a product of a bad system? Or is he truly just not a good quarterback? Mike, what are your thoughts on Graham Mertz?
He's a fucking Kansas man. He's from Kansas. What do you want me to freaking say, dude? And you guys. I mean, I had these stuff. It's true. This is ridiculous. What? All right, I'm gonna try to be on the right side here. I think we win if we had Graham Mertz this past year instead of AR, we would have won more games. That I do think. I think hold on, Wes. He fits the system 10 times better. Okay. I don't care about AR's where he gets drafted. I don't care about his athleticism. I don't care he can do a freaking backflip. It's irrelevant to me. He can throw the ball. He's more accurate. Okay. I'm pissed. He's in Kansas, man.
I'm trying to.
I didn't want him.
You're killing Wes's groove, man.
I foresee him as a decent option, or he can be solid for us. But I mean, I don't like being. This is University of Florida, and this is the quarterback position. This is arguably the holy grail. There's a separate standard for quarterbacks. And it's not. It's that we have it's a weird standard. This sucks. But hey, 19-10, I'll take it. I was at a football game. I'm still owed gas money to, and I watched Anthony Richardson play the game of football. Okay, I'm not getting that time back in my life. So I think he can win us some ball games. Maybe some 8 wins, maybe something like that. But we'll see.
Optimistic.
And I mean,
my point, if he can win 8 ball games, I'll be elated. I'll be ecstatic.
I think it can happen. I think if we play complimentary football, he's more. End of the day, he's more accurate than AR. Okay, AR costs us actual football games, and he's not going to care about the draft and protect himself on certain plays. These are facts. He's going to throw the ball. If Ricky comes back, Ricky's going to get better, more balls. His accuracy is going to be improved as well.
You're looking at a guy that's – yeah, go ahead, Wes. I'm sorry.
You say this guy is accurate, but he's under 60% passing. I don't know where –
Barely.
He's under 60%.
59.5 for his career.
Wisconsin receivers.
I mean,
one receiver.
And his average yard per attempt is at 7 yards attempt. So that means he's throwing sharp passes and they're inaccurate.
It's their scheme.
But he's inaccurate. And he's throwing the ball short. I mean, if you're throwing the ball down the field, then I get it. Then I say, okay, I get the inaccuracy. If you're throwing 20, 15-yard passes attempt, I get it. But if you're 7 yards attempt and you're still under 60%, something is wrong.
Listen, I'm not happy about it, but at least I know what AR. I might get some rushing TDs. I'm not getting that from him. The 19-10 is all you're gonna get. Unless one yard line do the quarterback sneak. And I think he's wired to be a quarterback.
Let me pose this question to y'all. Because I know where the fan base is really split on this take, and most are not even split. If you bring into camp, you got Graham Mertz, Jack Miller, and Jaden Rashada. Do you let them battle it out? Do you let them? Huh?
Yeah, I let them battle it out, but I don't think there's no way Rashada started in SEC year one.
What's a Jack Miller?
I hate to say, but right now he's still on the roster, whether we like it or not. But
you let him battle it out. You give Rashada that chance.
I don't think Billy would let him start year one. I don't believe that because I know I've seen how Billy is.
Graham Mertz didn't come here.
You're gonna kill. You'll kill.
What? Hold on, Mike. What?
Graham Mertz didn't come to University of Florida to be a backup.
Did Graham Mertz have options?
He could have. He could have had. No, I'm not even making a joke. So,
Graham Mertz will take what he gets.
No.
Power 5, as far as Power 5 schools.
Kentucky looked at him. All right, I'm not saying listen. I don't like him. Okay, let's not act. He's not dog shit. He's not dog shit. All right, I don't like him though, and he could definitely get a starting job. He's not coming to University of Florida to sit. He'll at least start half the season. Okay,
he's coming to compete. I'm not going to say he's just like coming in because like the spot is his.
That wasn't essentially a low key promise. Godspeed.
Yeah.
I don't think they're giving him the spot, but I think it's probably a wink, wink, nod.
Yes, agreed.
Because you just saw. Sorry if this offends you. Jack Miller is not him, maybe not her. And I know the offensive line was bad, but come on, man. Let's talk about some of the other quarterbacks that were out there real quick and how we got to this point. Devin Leary, like we brought up from North Carolina State, is going to Kentucky. But there were injury concerns. He won't be ready till fall ball. Then I
agree with the coaches not taking him. Too risky.
Yeah, it's a risk because torn pec on your throwing side. Yeah, you tear that again in fall ball, getting a rehabbing, and you're stuck with nobody. I said it before. I think Michael Pratt at Tulane was the guy that they wanted. I think that was the guy they set their sights on. But Pratt came out this week and said he wasn't transferring. Now, it was also said Miami made a very lucrative offer to Pratt as well. I know, people, whatever, that thinking, well, he's not in the portal yet. Don't worry. These people they're being talked to. Tampering's happening, whether it's legal or not. We all know that. Let's be big boys and just go ahead and
Edgar Thompson just doesn't have the time to announce everybody.
Yeah. Michael Pratt was a guy I think that the staff really wanted, and I think would have done very well here. But he's in a better functioning offense for his talent right now.
Yeah, and they had a nice season. They were ranked last year, so
that's what I'm saying. Do you want to come to Florida, learn a new offense, and risk your draft status, or do you want to stay where you're at?
I don't blame the guy.
Not at all. Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, a guy that a lot of the fan base wanted. As soon as he hit the portal, a lot of eyes perked up and said, man, that's got to be our guy. Was rumored he was going to take a visit to Auburn, and that visit got canceled. And then word came out that he probably has transcript issues and that his transcripts are not going to translate over, to SEC schools because of he's missing some things.
He's an idiot. Okay.
Yeah, apparently his transcripts. I said it on Gator Plus Discord is that apparently his transcripts are written in crayon.
Yeah, this is the bottom line. He's good at football. I don't know if anyone does know this. As long as you try, you'll pass. That's all you got to do.
There's something about quarterbacks with mullets.
Yeah, it's and not to mention after when they beat the 2 years ago I want to say it was 2 years ago when they beat BYU with Zach Wilson. You're probably gonna make sure you graduate, dude. Take some summer classes. Have someone take summer classes. I don't care. The fact that he's not graduated yet, that's a problem. That's the issue. So he's just, it sucks. I would have loved him, but guy's a friggin' moron. He's
down at that beach, man.
You would have thought he would have had that dialed in and known before he hit the portal, but apparently he's too dumb for that too.
Yeah, bad advice.
Austin Reed, quarterback from Western Kentucky. Obviously, he went back to school after he was in the portal maybe 5 days. Not really sure. I guess I'm guessing with that he didn't get the feedback he thought he was going to get when he entered the portal. Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State. I know some people were on the fence about him. He's still in the portal. Doesn't look like a whole lot of people have come knocking on his door either.
I'll take him just for him and Mertz to battle it out.
You can't do that. You can't do. Why would he come and not get a starting spot?
But that's the thing. This ain't the NFL. You can't cut him when he gets here.
That's what I'm saying. It was a wink. And I don't know. They're anywhere he goes, he's a start.
And
unless it's Kirby.
And finally, another name that got bannered around was of course, DJ Bunch of Letters from Clemson.
If he would have came, I wouldn't watch the game.
That was like great value AR. He got crystal balled a couple of days ago to Hawaii. Perfect fit. Go to Hawaii.
And real quick, I think Spencer Sanders he's very similar to AR. I think he's more similar than DJ.
I'm very surprised we didn't kick the tires there.
The crazy thing is unless something happens with the Wade quarterback, whatever that is, Mertz may be the best option. I'm not even making a joke.
It
sucks, but it is what it is. And I'm going to be curious. He's obviously with Rashada, and we have Lagway, but having that second year of eligibility could be great for us.
Well, there might not have been a lot of quarterbacks looking at the weapons that we have here. That was like, you know what? I'm in a real hurry to go play in that offense. Yep. That's not a shot to Billy's offense. That's a shot to the talent that's on campus currently. Yeah. You've got Ricky, and then you've got a bunch of unprovens, bigger, slower route running guys. Good freshmen coming in, but you're dealing with a guy that might have one season to make or break. It's a lot of risk to take. All right. One other guy that we heard about yesterday, and unfortunately, our boy Edgar, likes to throw things out there maybe sometimes before he's supposed to. But this name had kind of been rumored about for a while, and that was Ohio State linebacker Terahata Mitchell, 6'2", 239 linebacker. He was one of the captains of Ohio State and had 45 tackles this year. He's a run-stuffing linebacker, very similar, I guess I would say, to Ventrell in that aspect. Was highly rated, 4-star prospect coming out of high school. He was like a top 60, top 70 recruit in the country. No, I'm sorry. He was I'm completely spaced on that. 44th coming out in the 2018 cycle. So this is his final season of eligibility. Experienced linebacker added to the linebacker room. Guys, what are your thoughts on Mitchell? Wes?
We need the depth. We need a veteran guy to step in and maybe contribute day one. Hopefully he's that guy. I'm not mad at it. We only took one linebacker in the recruiting class, and we lost two veterans who've been here, Miller and Bernie. So you have no other choice but to take a flyer on a guy like that. He was talented coming out of high school, so the talent is there. And we saw what happened with Bernie this year. Everybody saw the turnaround with him. So hopefully, with this kid who obviously had a lot of talent coming out of high school, that maybe we can coach him up and have him be there in the middle for us.
Mike?
I mean, I don't even see him taking a flyer. He is what he is. We're not going to maybe coach him slightly. But no, he's a run-stopper linebacker. He's 6'2", 240. Maybe he's not going to be as good as Ventrell. That's not going to happen. But at this point, you need a team leader. You need a guy that you know what you're going to get. He's not, not going to be a 3-down backer. He's not all world, which is, I think, fine. It gives you insurance in case Wingo does not work out. Wingo play well in the bowl game. It's going to help us out tremendously. At the same time, you have Shamar James at the second. Shamar James, Kamari Wilson possibly down there. So you have some depth. You're only going to play probably, 2 linebackers, so you don't really need 3 for the majority of the time. So I think this essentially get what you know. That is important right now. And there wasn't a ton of linebackers available. There were some. And once again, I think he wants to go build that foundation. Even though this class we punted, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, but is what it is. We already spoke on that, so I like it.
Yep, good addition. Like you said, need that leader. That will help next year. And with that being said, guys, that's pretty much all we got right now in the portal. I really expect us to kick that up a notch now that the coaches are done with early signing day, and we got a little bit of a break here on the recruiting trail. It's dead period. So I would expect the coaching staff to go absolutely heavy on the portal here for the next few weeks. So next week, we'll probably have a lot more names to discuss for you. And we'll go in depth maybe on some targets that we'd like to see us go after as well. But with that being said, guys, we're going to jump right onto it because, as you know, hey, we're a part of the people. We like to say it. And Wes has got a few questions that you guys out there wanted us to answer. So we're going to do the best we can for you. Wes, what you got?
Yeah, the first question is from, hold on, it's pulling up now. I apologize, guys. It was up and then it went away.
It happens. Technical difficulties are happening on all forms.
So Mertz, really quick, are you excited for Mertz?
No.
I mean, I won't say excited, but I mean, I
think he's a game. I think he's a step up from Miller.
How about this? For this offense, do you think he could be an improvement over AR under the same conditions?
I think he can be more efficient as a passer. Obviously, he's not going to. I think he'll hurt the run game.
Okay. At the same time, I think they would adjust it, but no, I agree.
If he can get the defense out of the box, then obviously, that brings a whole better dimension to the offense. But we just gotta wait and see, man. We gotta see. Guys, I just want to while we're waiting on Wes to get these questions for us, I want to make sure we go ahead and wish everybody out there a happy and safe holiday. I hope everybody enjoys the time with their family, and we everybody can just be safe out there with this weather that's coming in. I got the questions right here, Wes.
Yeah, go ahead, ask me. For some reason, not pulling up for me.
Ryan Parker asks, guys, thoughts on whether we get another transfer quarterback, and if so, who? I know we just kind of covered that. I don't know if y'all want to speak on this, but I don't know if we're going to go after another quarterback.
Not at all. I don't think we're going to get one. It gives the room, even if most like best case. I mean, obviously, hope Miller stays. Is what it is. But that's 4 in the room. I mean, it's Miller. That's Mertz, Miller, Max Brown, and Rashada. No, you're not going to have 5 quarterbacks. Doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, unless you see Miller or Brown transfer.
And you can go with 3 quarterbacks as well to have Rashad as a backup. I mean, but I like the
Billy says he wants 4 scholarship in the room.
I like the option of if Rashad, they know, listen, Rashad is not there. Okay, put Miller. I like to have that option. So no.
James Eunice asked us, guys, is it only a NIL issue and on why we didn't get recruits we missed on, or is there something else going on?
It's a combination of the two. I spoke on it before. I put it at about 75 to 25. It's going to be NIL. I think 2 players specific, 3. Ricks. It's going to be Ricks. Definitely a Sampson, he's going to highest bidder, and Walker. That's straight NIL money. So, and it goes to the staff as well. The staff, they couldn't have taken care of Sampson. It is what it is. Staff, they did their job on Ricks, but that came down to a money portion as well. So that's going to go down to more of the Strickland sign our Strickland. Walker, inexcusable, because that minimal amount is playing in a Big 12. You're playing in a shit stadium. You're playing in a school that's done nothing for defensive tackles. You're playing at a school that just got a new DC, and you're supposed to be at one time you're top 5 or a recruiter in the country at a position. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, I love the depth chart. Well, you're going to start. You should be starting at number 2 behind Walker. I'm not Walker behind Big Dez, because you should be better than McClellan, who I like, but I think he's a 3 tech, not a 1 tech. He was getting slaughtered against Oregon State. It looked bad. It's not his position.
One last question from Jay Stubbins. I know he continuously asks questions every week. Jay, thank you for your questions. Other than the big business going down, if you were Napier, what changes would you make for the 23 season and for the 24 class to be better than this year?
You can't let guys leave campus. You gotta start having guys commit the weekend they're on campus. Can't have these guys coming eating food, chilling 5 times and they don't commit.
Telling half your team they're coming.
Yeah. Forget the silent. You need commit now. And that you have to take more of a stern approach. That passive aggressive stuff is not working. You gotta say, hey, you want to be here or not? Same thing we talked about earlier. Some guys, if you don't want to be here, we're not gonna have you keep coming, eating our food, giving you this red carpet treatment. Nah.
Well, they came to his house personally and ate all the food.
That's how it was. That's the mentality they gotta have, because these kids come. People don't know, like, when they come on these visits, they're treated like rock stars. They get to eat free and have I'm talking like good food too. So they got to do better with that. In my opinion, that's one thing. They got to commit while they on visits on the weekend.
Mike, you want to add anything to that before we close?
No, just have people shut stuff down. I mean, I think the biggest thing is Mac did it. Coach, if you got a problem with the admin, voice it. That may not be your way, but guess what? Coach Matt came in. He got IPF in an off season with the quickness.
I can't disagree with that. I think,
like, you know what? I try, because he's catching all the flack. Like, it's not fair. Like,
here's the thing, Billy. We heard continuously that Billy had demands before taking this job. I can't imagine that one of them wasn't to get the support he needed to land elite classes. Billy coached at Clemson. Billy coached at Alabama. He knows the formula of what it takes to get big-time recruits. Now, I know NIL is kind of a new thing, and it's an ever-changing landscape, but Bama is not using NIL, not to the extent that someone like Miami is. UGA is not using NIL. They're using the old-fashioned approach, which obviously most of is win the ball games on the field and the rest takes care of itself. But the man knows how to land elite recruits. He's done it. So he needs to put his foot down and tell the administration, I need, more now. All right, guys. We appreciate y'all tuning in. This has been our early signing day wrap-up show. I know it's gone a little long. It was a lot to talk about. But like I said before, I really hope everybody out there has a happy holiday season and a safe one at that. Make sure, y'all are safe out there with this real cold front that's coming through. You're going to be real dangerously cold this weekend in a lot of parts around the southeast and whatnot. Y'all be safe and enjoy this time with your family. Best wishes from all of us. Just be safe out there. Mike, you got anything you want to add?
Bateman's got us. And sayonara, Scott.
All right, Wes, take us home.
Yeah, happy holidays, guys. Thank you guys for the continued support. We love it. We love the questions you ask. We love the comments on our pod, on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everything. We appreciate you guys. And of course, you guys know we are a pod that support our troops. Thank you guys for your service. And all those who are going through some things through the holidays, our hearts and prayers go out, because we know sometimes it's not always happy around the holidays when miss loved ones and things like that. So our hearts goes out to those who may have lost someone this year going into the holidays. And if you're a veteran or know someone that is a veteran, please ask us any questions that you may have about disability benefits. We get those questions answered. Again, thank you guys. Support our troops and go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators, guys. Be safe. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.